Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to Carnation Crafts TV. I'm Laura. We have Bunny next door. We are live, interactive. If you want to message in, Bunny is there to read all of your messages. So please feel free to message in any questions, anything at all. Just want to say hello. Please do message in. Now, if you missed the earlier show, this is our second show of the day. So we are looking again at our delightful card base collection. Now, you might be looking at this and thinking, oh, that looks familiar. This is the expansion pack for Beautiful Bundles, and it is very similar to our delightful DL collection that we brought you with that. Now, the delightful DLs did actually sell out. They were very popular. They sold out, I think it was like on the second show. They sold out. So Nick and the team have brought the delightful card based collection. So you can see these are different shaped cards and you have them in different styles. So you have the delightful daffodil card shape, you've got the delightful tulip card shape, you can see there in the circle, and the delightful gerbera card shape too. We did have a show earlier, like I said, and we are 45% of the stock gone on these, so these have equally been just as popular. I can see why. They are so pretty and so easy to use as well. I am going to run you through some of the samples the design team have done, so you can see different ways that they have actually used these and brought these together. So you can see this one here, this is the gerbera one. This one has been done by Vera. So you can see how there you can make your card base, you have your mats and layers, and then you have this lovely shape going across the center as well. So you can use these either way as well, which is great. You can mix these up. There's so many different ways that you can actually pop these together. And then we go on to one here. There you go. So Pam has done this one for us. Look at that one. So pretty. This one bringing in the daffodils. And what Pam has done is actually use the daffodils on both sides. So instead of having that clean space there where you could pop your sentiment or make your shape, actually bringing the daffodils on both sides, which looks so pretty. I love the white on white. It almost gives you like that faux embossed effect. It looks really, really pretty. So effective, even like that in white. Then I've got another one here by Vera, bringing those daffodils in. Now, don't forget, you also do get the dies for the heads, the daffodil heads, to fit onto these. So if you want to add more in, just like Vera's done there, you can absolutely do that. Or you can add them on top of the ones that are already in the design and decoupage those up to give you some more dimension. Then I have another one here by Vera, using those daffodils there. I love seeing them in the different colorways as well, because I think you could use these all year round. They just look so effective, and like I said, you can easily cut out your card bases with these, do a clean and simple looking card, or you can really add a lot into these. And I've got another one here by Vera. Look at this, using the tulip one, and you can see bringing in the tulips there from Beautiful Bundles, which is going to be on our 2 o'clock show. So if you missed this, or you're thinking where's this come from, it'll be on the 2 o'clock show. So you can see there using it to make that stepper card, and the tulips you can see in the design there looks so pretty. And then I've got one here by Janine. Not Vera this time, we've got Janine. I'm sure another one of Vera's will pop up in a minute. So I've got one here, look at that. So exactly the same design, but using one of the frames and the teddy there from the bundle, Beautiful Bundles. And you can see there, if I just pop that down, so you can see the card base there, and you can see adding those tulips in, even in white. If I just tip that, you can see how much you can get such a lovely effect on there, adding those decoupage pieces onto there. Then this one is using the gerbera card shapes. You can see these two here. They are the gerbera, and then this one is actually the gerbera from the DL. So if the Delightful DL, so that was the first one that we did. And now you can see there using the Gerbera card shape, how they actually work really well. When I seen this earlier, the first thing I thought of was you could turn that into like a memory book or a photo album. It just gives me that kind of look, like a book. You could absolutely use that and make a little scrapbook or memory book with that one. Then we have one here. This one's by Barbara, using the Gerbera frame again. And then I've got one here by Sue, using the same one, but look how different they look. Exactly the same die, but they look so different. I love that you can use them in different ways as well. You can use them landscape or portrait, and you can really mix them up with those aperture parts that you have inside. And then I've got one here by Sue, which I think looks absolutely stunning. And also was used is the matten layer from the card base, and then the matten layer for the aperture part here, and then added in some of those flowers. How stunning does that look? It's such a clean and simple looking card, but it looks so effective. And having those aperture parts as well, you can really play around with these and mix and match them up. We are going to just jump over to the boards so you can see exactly what each one is going to look like. So this is the Gerbera one to start off with. So you have the card base, you've got your matte layer, then you have that lovely frame with that Gerbera designing, and then you have that center column part there. Now you can mix and match that up. You can have them matted up like this. You could use the die to go into the back of that. You could even use it like this. You could snip away that middle part and have it onto a card like that. There's so many different configurations of how you can put these together, which just gives us more value for money because it gives us more variety of what we want to do with the dies. Then we go on to the daffodils. Now I think these are so pretty. And again, so many different ways of doing these. We demoed this in the earlier show, so you can see even just like changing it slightly to make it more of like a diamond shape and having it stand up like that. You could equally do it the other way. I think they just look so pretty, and there's no right or wrong way of which way you want the daffodils to be. You could pop them in any corner of the card and they would work in either way. You get the decoupage pieces for the daffodils as well. And then we go on to the tulips, which I just think are so pretty. You've got that lovely circle. I love the shape on this part here that you've got. You can matten it up. You've got your tulip heads there, so you can really build those up, even just popping them in on your card base. So this is again one we demoed in the earlier show. So you've got your card base, matten layers, you've got that lovely frame there, and this one we actually did using Elevate, so you can see those waist pieces really are still in there, and that gives you such a different effect. So lots of different ways that you can mix and match these ones up. Right, I'm just gonna grab, which one would you like to do first, Bunny? Let's take the tulips. Let's do the tulips first. Right, let me grab the tulips and we'll do this one first for Bunny. Oh, should we cut it out first? Let's cut it out. Let me grab the plate. Right, let's do some cutting. So if I grab the tulips, if I grab the bit that's actually got the flowers in, so we can see what that looks like. So you've got your die. Now, like I said, you've got lots of different ways that you can pop this together. You do have those matte layers as well for that aperture bit. Obviously, you could just use them as matte layers, or you could cut into it and make it into that aperture style. Now, if you've got an A4 die cutting machine as well, you can fit multiples on a sheet. So if you were running these through your die cutting machine, and the same with the other ones as well. So you could have two on your plates and run those through together. So I'm just going to cut out that framework so we can see what that looks like. So I'm just going to run that through. I've got too much stuff everywhere. There you go. Right, so we'll run that through. And then we can see what that looks like. Because just one pass of your die cutting machine, obviously you're going to get that lovely layer with that framework in. And they just look so pretty. You can see now that's cut out for us. Let's move that over there. And then if I just pop that, just do it there, so all those bits. And then, there you go. So that now is cut out, and you can see how pretty that looks. And this is just in our blush cardstock, but you can see how lovely that looks. You've got so much detail in there in those tulip heads. So you can see so much detail in the die itself. Even just using this as a card, you could cut that out, cut another one out, give that a score. That could be the fold for your card. So your card's going to stand up like that. Stick another one. I know these don't match, but just bear with. You know, stick those there like that. Just snip a little bit off the bottom so it stands upright. That could be your card completely on its own, which I just think, if you were somebody that makes and sells, you could not make a quicker card that looks so effective than just having that like that. Equally as well, you know, if you are looking at these and you think, do you know what, I love making cards, but I like making bigger cards, these are going to be perfect for mats and layers to go on your cards as well. You don't have to use them just as your card bases. You can use them as your mats and layers for those bigger cards as well. So there's nothing stopping you doing that either. Right, I've got my card base. So I'm using the Perfect Papers from Beautiful Bundles. And I have already cut the bottom part of this to give me that edge for it to sit on. So that is just going to sit on there, okay? Now I'm going to just move this mat up a bit, because where that edge is, I'm going to just pop that against the bottom of here, so I know where the bottom of my card is, okay? Right, so first of all, you're going to go in with your biggest die. So that bigger die is going to be the card base, which is what we've cut that pink dotted paper out of. And then go in with your next layer then, which we are going to do in white. So I'm going to put some foam tape on the back of this layer. Just to raise this up from the back. So we'll add this in. And then you're going to go in with your next layer, which I've done in the same pink from the Perfect Papers, but this one is the solid colour. So this one is just the solid pink. So we've used the like polka dot pink, and we're going to use the solid pink now for this. So this is going to go on next. So that is going to sit there like that. And then we're going to go in with that lovely tulip design, which just looks so pretty. And I love that you could use this. Think of all of those floral dies that you have at home that you could use this with, because there's nothing at all stopping you using this with a variety of different collections, because this is essentially just giving you your base of your card. So you could use this with so many floral designs that you might have at home already. I'm going to add a bit there. Now, if I was doing this at home, I'd add some foam pads onto the flower heads as well, just to hold them up. But I'm just going to put a little bit of pin flare on these just for speed. I'll end up sticking it down, but I'll try and be gentle with it. But I always use, if I'm putting something like this and it's going to be on a layer, I will always use foam pads, because I will squish that down. So if you use a foam pad, if it's like a layer that you're doing, then it doesn't matter, then it's going to hold up, and those foam pads will be there just to support that anyway, so it's fine. Add that in there. Right, then, like I said, now you've got these dies, which I think you could absolutely use them. Do you know, like, who did that last card? I think it was Sue. Use these on their own. I think they just look, they are pretty. I think it's just something, you know, because of the shape of it, I think it's just something really unusual. It's not just like, just a line and it's like, you know, half a semicircle. It's, I don't know, I just think it's just something really different. So for me, because it's like an unusual shape, it catches my eye straight away. So it works really, really well. We're going to add these in. So we've gone in, so I've done the same that I've done on the back, okay? So I'm following the same papers. And if you do something like this as well, you can, like I said, run them through. If you've got an A4 die cutting machine, you can run these through the same time. So like at the same time, you can cut that with that back layer. So I've done the solid pink. Let me put this on here so I don't squish the tulips. So, and then we're going to go in now with that polka dot pink next. So just following the exact same colorways that we've already done. So we'll add this one in. So this is going to sit there, and then our last layer we're going to go in with white. Now I've put tape under all of these layers, and so far, okay, I've used every die. So in the tulip, I have used every die. So I've used the card base to do my card base, then I've used the mats and layers, I've used the tulip frame, and then I've used the mats and layers to go on the side, and then I've just stuck them down with foam. Now look at that, you've got so much depth in there, it looks so pretty, and all I've done is I've just cut the dies out in white and pink and stuck them together, and that looks so pretty on its own before you even do anything at all. So honestly, the dies do all the work for you. Now I'm going to go in with some elements from Beautiful Bundles, which is what we have coming up at 2 o'clock. So this is the expansion pack on that. So I'm going to mix some of these in with it, okay? So I'm going to add this. Now I'm going to pop it kind of about there so that this kind of goes where the bottom of the card would be. And Bunny has just reminded me as well, if you maybe missed the Beautiful Bundles first time round, or you know, maybe you didn't get there in time, there is a lovely little discount on our Beautiful Bundles collection. So if you missed it and you want to grab it, I would say now is absolutely the time to grab it. But it is already on there, so if you do want to jump over on the website and have a look, it is there. But obviously if you do want to wait and see it on the show, we will have it on at 2. Oh, Bunny's just said you could just order it and then just watch the show for inspiration. I like your thinking, Bunny. So I'm going to add one of these little boots, which I think are the cutest things ever. These little baby boots. Every time I see a pair of like, do you know if you go in the shop, like shoe shopping, and you see the baby section, I'm always like, oh, no. Funny just said, does it make me broody? No, it doesn't make me broody, but like, oh, they're just so cute. They are just so cute. You just see like the tiny, little trainers and like little boots. Yeah, and you're like, oh, they're so cute. Yeah, I could absolutely, I think I could collect like little shoes. They're just so, like every time I see them, I'm just like, oh. I have never seen that. So Bunny's just told me she's seen videos where people buy baby shoes and small shoes and they hang them off their car mirror on the inside. Oh, no way! I've never seen that. Oh, I could absolutely, baby shoes, they're just, oh, they're so cute. Right, now I've added that in. I'm going to add in the decoupage pieces as well to fit on there. So I'm just going to add these flower heads in to just build this up a little bit more. So add that in there. And this one next. So add that in, and then let's grab our sentiment. So I've got Scent with Love, which was from, what was that from, Bunny? You checked earlier, didn't you? Because somebody asked. Joy of Summer, was it? Was it Joy of Summer? She's going to double check, but I used this in an earlier demo and somebody asked, so I'm sure it was Joy of Summer. Joys of Summer. Yeah. I thought this was the one that somebody asked about. Oh, okay, I'm getting confused. No, it was not this one. This one is from Petals and Threads. Yes, it is. What was the one I used earlier then? Oh, yes, it was. It was a different, that's the one I used earlier, which is from Joys of Summer. This is from Petals and Threads. Wow, confusing myself now. I know, I am used to using the Petals and Threads. Right, we're going to add this in. So I'm just going to add some Pinflair, and I'm going to pop this just there, like that. And then because I've got the same pink and white, but you can see how having the matte Sphere Sentiment really come into their own, because if I'd have put that on there without the matte, it would have just got lost in the background. But obviously you do have the mattes there for them. But look how pretty. These could easily be used for baby cars, couldn't they? Like when you see it like that with the teddy in the, like that pink as well, that like baby pink. You could use them for so many occasions. And like I've said, you know, that one there now, we used all of those dyes, matinated them up, and they look so effective. You can, if I just turn that, look, you can see how much you can build them up. And they just look so effective before you even start adding anything in. They just work so well. Really, really pretty. Right, I'm gonna grab, should we do daffodils? Daffodils. So I'm gonna grab my next demo, and then we'll do some daffodils. Right, now I can't remember what I was doing. Right, oh, there it is. I was like, where's my card there? Right, so my card base, I am using obviously that larger die in the set. So this is going to be a card base die. And we're going to glue the top part on to here, so that's going to give us our card base. So again, these are the Perfect Papers from the Beautiful Bundle collection. Oh, Bunny, we didn't check if they did have more, or if it was only the one. We'll know by the next show. So you've got this lovely green in that polka dot style there, and then I'm going to go in with the cream. So you have a lovely cream in the Perfect Papers too. So I'm going to add that in. Oh, so we are, Bunny's just told me we are now at 50% of this stock has gone. So it is the Delightful Card Base Collection. You can see it on your screen there. We are 50% gone. It's item number 250814. And don't forget, it is on that show price for you as well. So it's $59.99, which does put you in that free P&P bracket. So if there's anything that you want to add in, add that in while you've got that free P&P. Take advantage. And the price is going to go back up at midnight tonight. So don't miss out if you want to get that, because it is on that show price for you. And don't forget, you've also got the QR code there as well that you can scan. It'll take you straight to the product on our website. Right, so we've got our card base. I've just taken the backs off of the next layer, and this is going to sit right there and gives us that perfect matte in the background. Then we're going to go in with our next layer, which I've done the same green, but I've just used the solid colorway for this. So we've got the polka dot in the back and then the solid color. So we'll add this on there like that. So you can see our perfect mats. And then we're going to go in with our daffodils. Now this one, I've added the dye into this. Okay, so like I showed you with the tulip, you can have it like this. You've got that space. Or the other thing you can do is add the dyes in. And the other thing you can do is you can follow. So like on here, you can see you've got those lines. So you could follow this and just snip those little bits away. And that will give you an aperture style in the center like that. So you've got, there's 3 different ways again. So you can keep it solid, you can snip it away, or you can pop the dye in, and that almost gives you like a nice frame around the edge of there. So that's what I've done for this one. Okay, so I've just added that dye in and cut out. Now I'm just going to see if, will our clean and simple tape fit there? Oh, I think it will, you know. Ah, perfection. Right, so I'm just going to cut that there. And then I'm going to run down this side. Like that. And then I'm just going to put some down the center bit for here. So we can add this in. Just put a little bit there. There. Right, so we've got that. Now I would add, like I said, go in with your clean and simple foam pads. I was going to grab one to show you, but I think I've only got the bigger ones to hand. What are they? No, the big ones. So add them in there. I'm just going to add that in there like that, so you can see how that's going to sit. There. Couldn't even find my pocket tool then. Right, so we'll add this in. So just pull these off. So add some of your little foam pads in those flowers. They'll fit in there perfectly, and then that's just going to support that part then to stop any of that going down. So I'm going to add it, and I'm going to add it this way. Now the lovely thing with the design of this, you could have it like that, you can have it this way, you can have it that way, that way. There's no kind of right or wrong way of which way you want it round, so you can really play around with these. You could even make like the same design card and just change the layout so you have it in a different corner every time, and they're still going to look different. And then you could do the 4 of them, have it that way, that way, that way, that way, put the sentiment on, decorate it a little bit, pop it into a little bag, have 4 of them in a set, and you could sell those like that and have the 4 in there, which I think would look so pretty. Now the next thing we're going to do is, now this is the one that I've cut out, so can you see how that has come out of there? So you could have it that way. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add in a layer on here using the same green, okay? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this in, and I'm going to add 2 layers of foam tape, because if I add 1 layer, oh, actually we could do 1 layer. So when I add this in now, this is going to be the same level as this outside frame. So this is just going to sit there like that. But can you see how you've just got that lovely aperture effect? You've got almost like that really frame effect going around. And then going with our next layer, and then this is going to stand out then, because those 2 are the same height at the minute. So if you put them in, and then we'll add that in there. Right, so we'll put these in. So you've got your next layer in. So that is going to sit there. So we've got our card base. Now I'm going to add in, so I'm going to bring in the daffodils from the Beautiful Bundles. So you can see now that is going to sit there like that, and obviously the daffodils fits in really pretty. Now I've also got some other little elements, so like the letters, I've got the stamp in here as well, so we're going to mix some of these in. So I'm just going to kind of like decorate. Now the nice thing about this, if you were somebody, maybe you struggle to decorate your cards, or if sometimes you want to do like a clean and simple looking card, but you look at it and you think it needs more, or it looks too plain, these are actually a really nice way to help you do that, because once you've made your card, it doesn't matter how you pop this card together, the only part that you really need to worry about is this bit. So you could essentially just forget about that part of the card and just worry about this half of the card that you need to decorate. So it does give you a helping hand, and especially if you do struggle with that more clean and simple look. But obviously you don't need to keep them like that. You can still go in and decorate these to your heart's content, because they do look amazing either way. So I am adding some of these in. I'm going to add this one along the bottom, because this is the envelope with that wax seal on. So I'm going to stick that there, and then I'm going to get the stamp, and let me just put a little bit of glue on the back of that as well. And then that is just going to sit there as if it's just been stamped. And then I've also got some of these flower heads, so I'm just going to stick these on there, and I'm also going to just add some So I want those flowers to just stand out a little bit more. So I'm going to add some where there aren't any flowers. So don't ever be afraid to go in and kind of just make it your own. You can absolutely do that with carnation. Everything is so detailed that even using them on their own, they just look absolutely amazing. So I'm going to add one there. And then I'm going to add this one. There, like that. So then we can put some glue. So I've got Scent with Happiness, which is from the Petals and Threads collection. I'm just going to glue this, and then I'm going to pop this onto the mat that matches that. So that's just going to sit, just move that, that's going to sit there like that. So you've got Scent with Happiness, and just put a little bit on this side, and then a blob on this side, because that is just going to sit there like that. I'll put way too much glue on there, but it's fine. So we've got Scent with Happiness. So you've got your dafter, but it's just a lovely way of seeing how quickly they come together, and they always look so incredibly detailed. You can see so much of the detail in the flowers. The dyes really do all the work for you. They come together really, really quick, and like I said, you can go in and add in as much as extra as you want it, or you could keep it really clean and simple, and they just look so pretty. I'm gonna grab some samples. Should we do beer? Should we do them beer? Yeah, is it? Yeah. Right, Pam has done this one, which I think is such a lovely way of showing you, even just using those center panels, how you can still make something that looks really pretty just using them. Then we've got one here by Barbara. Look how pretty that looks. Do you know, in that colorway, I think that would make a great sympathy card. You could just do the card base, do your mats and layers, add in the florals, and just put your sentiment on there, and I think it would look amazing. It's still pretty, it still looks effective, but you haven't gone in and, because sympathy cards, they can be quite hard because you still want it to be a nice card, but obviously you're not going to go in with everything to make it. Do you know what I mean? It's like the really nice balance on that. Then we've got one here by Pam, using the gerbras for this one. You can see how that comes together really pretty. And we've got one here by Barbara. That's so pretty. So you can see they're bringing in the tulips and using it like that. It looks so effective. And then we've got one here by Janine. And you can see there, Janine's actually used the dye, like I showed you, to make that aperture in every layer. So you've got the aperture in the card itself. So another way of using, you can see as well, changing the angle on the daffodils. You can see how that would look. And then actually Janine's done the same thing there. So making the aperture but actually leaving the card base whole. So you can see a different way of using that. And then there you go. This is, look, this one with Quiet Thoughts. That could be a sympathy card, couldn't it? And then equally, seeing it all in white, you could change that to a wedding and it would work for that. There's just so many different ways that you could use these. They cover so many occasions. And think of all of those dyes that you might have in your craft room that you could use with these, because these are giving you the most detailed card bases ready to go. So you've got these bases there ready for you to go in and decorate how you want. You know, don't forget as well, you could even go in and add some colour to these. So if you wanted to go in and add some colour onto these daffodils, you could absolutely do that. Or just think about coloured cardstock that you could cut these layers into, and then you could have that on there. I got one there by Barbara. This one made me think of like a wedding card as well. Yeah, an invitation. You could imagine just popping the invite out, couldn't you? Which would look really pretty. And then I've got last one here by Vera. How pretty is that? That's the Gerbera one. Really, really pretty. And again, so simple to use. And then they are bases. So you imagine if you've got card bases that look this pretty, how pretty is your card going to end up looking? Really, really lovely. Right, I'm just going to grab another demo so you can see there. That is the full collection. So you are getting all three in the bundle. It's item number 250814. You do get the three in there. We are at 50% of the stock of the collection has gone. The price does go back up at midnight tonight. So if you do want to grab that while it's still on that show price for you, then do grab it before midnight tonight. You are in your free P&P bracket with that as well. So if you need any more everyday glue, you need some more Pro Print, Cut ID, anything at all, take advantage of your free P&P and add those extra little bits in. Right, we are going to go in with our next card. So this one we're using the Gerbera one. So let's add some glue on there, and then we can pop this in. So we're using that largest die first. So this is going to be our card base. So we've got that one. And then we're going to go in some the Perfect Papers again from Beautiful Bundle I'm using. We've got the light pink. It's a really nice soft, like a baby soft pink. And then the cream as well. So I'm going to add these in to our card. And then we can add the next layer in as well. And if anybody's wondering, because Bunny, I can't believe you haven't even asked me, I have got the right day glue today. I even hunted before the show to make sure that I had the right day glue, and Bunny didn't even check. Right, so we've got our cream, and then we'll add in the pink on top. So the bottom one is the polka dot design. It's like a really nice spotty design on that one, and then this one is going to be plain. Now, and if you're wondering, is there a reason that I do the pattern on the bottom, because we did this for a couple of them. I'll add the pattern on the bottom and then the solid at the front. So for these ones, these cards that we're making, the reason that I'm using the solid is because that is the layer that the floral is going to sit on top. So, I mean, you could use the other design as well. It depends on what you're going to, what's that? What you're going to do with it. It doesn't really make that much of a difference. It's just if I tend to use a solid colour if I'm putting something on top of it like that. Does that make sense? Right, I got a little bit there, this left in, I got to poke that out. Otherwise it will drive me mad. Right, let's glue this in. So I am going to just glue this layer in. So let's pop that and then just put a little bit of glue over those flower heads and then just a little bit around that edge. So all this bit is glued in nicely. So that is just going to sit on there like that. So you've got your mats. So we've done the car base. So if you'd have done the card base and this colour at the same time, the two creams at the same time, and then you'd have had to cut the base out again, because obviously we've done two. So for this whole card would have been 3 passes through your die cutting machine, and you've got a card that looks like that. You could even just batch make them, couldn't you, and just have those there ready for when, you know, if somebody says, oh, can you make me a birthday card? You could just grab this, pop something on, happy birthday, and they're just so easy to use. Right, we're going to go in with so we have got the gerberas in the background, so I'm going to bring the gerberas with the vase in from the Beautiful Bundles collection. Now this is going to sit on the side of the card like so. So I'm going to add this in. So I'm just going to add some glue. On there like that. I love the design on this. I love that it's kind of like on the wonk to go with the books. Yeah, it just looks so lovely. Right, and then I've cut out, so I've got another one, and I've essentially cut away the pot. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the teddy on so he looks as if he's sat on there. So what I've done is I've cut the pot away, but I've left, the thing I love about this collection is you've got petals and flower heads on the bottom. So it looks as if, you know, it looks so realistic, as if they've been sat there and they've just fallen off. I love that. And I didn't want to lose that. So I've kept them there. But I'm just going to sit our teddy in there. So it looks as if he sat there, look, with the flowers, which I think looks so effective. So I'm going to add a bit of glue on the front and the back of him on the edges. So then I can glue him on there like that. So he's now like that. So we're going to add him. Now I'm going to lift this slightly. Put that there. And then we're going to add some glue to him. And he is going to go there. Like that. And then we've got some more of our flowers. And I think I'm going to stick that there. So I'm going to cut this vase away. And spin that around. Add some glue on there. Then I'm going to just tuck that there. So you can't see where that bouquet started, but it just brings that up a bit. And then what I'm going to do is I am going to add in some more of these flowers. Now, to me, I need some more there. So I am going to add a flower there behind him, so it looks as if that's fallen off. And I'm going to tuck some more in that bouquet. So I'm going to put one there under there, just to bring. So all I've done is added that one and that one, but can you see how that just balances that out a bit more? So it really does. Yeah, let's add that there. Yeah, I'm going to leave it like that. And then I'm going to get some glue, and then I've got, now this is going to test Bunny. I've got Celebrate. And I'm going to pop this on to the mat. And I'm going to put that there. And then it's going to sit there, I think. Bunny is on the hunt, by the way. I found one that she didn't know. I'm sure it comes in like there's a couple of different ones in there. Yeah, I'm sure there's a few of them. It's not like just Celebrate. Oh, she can't find it. I've stumped her. Somebody will message in now and say exactly where it's from. All right, now I'm just going to pop a couple of these on. So it just flows with the whole design then, because you've got that matching pattern there in the card base. And then obviously this is just going to match up perfectly with that. And if I move that. And then we've got Celebrate. Oh look, he's so adorable. So cute. But can you see how easy you can make such effective cards with these? They come together effortlessly. You don't need to think about them. And I said in the earlier show, if you missed it, I think these are such a nice one for if you ever get, you know, you lost your mojo and you I don't know what to do, and you sit there and you pull your dies out and you think, oh, I want to do something, I don't know what to do. Just sit there and cut these out, just like these. Just cut some of these out. Have your mats and layers ready to go, or maybe just put the card together. So you've got your mat, your card base, your mat, your layer, and put these together so you've got cards like this ready to go. And I can guarantee you, by the time you've cut a couple of these out, you'll think, oh, actually, I've got this that would look perfect here, or I've got this that would look perfect here, and you'll have made a card by the end of it. But even if you just want to sit there and just not think about something for a bit, and you want to just cut something out, you know, cut these out and have them there ready for you. They are just so effective, such effective card bases, that you don't need to go in with much of anything on top. You could go in and add a sentiment, and you could have your card done as quick and as easy as that. You can see there, those are the 3 that we did in this show, and you can just see how effective they do look. Really, really pretty. Right, I'm just going to grab the boards so you can see exactly what comes in each one. So you can see there we've got the gerbera one to start off with. So this is that rectangle shape that you have in there with the gerbera design. So you can see you've got your heads there as well that you can fit in. So you can decoupage those up as well if you wish. Then we've got the daffodils. Again, you can have that in different ways as well. There's no right or wrong. You've got your daffodil heads there. You've got the mats and layers there to build up, but also remember you can cut into them, you know, like we did with that one. So you can have it more of an aperture style as well. And then you've got your tulips as well. So that lovely circle. I love that shape as well in the center. Just, it's like it's almost like a teardrop. It's really lovely. It was something really unusual. And what I said, for me, when I look at that, it just catches my eye straight away because it's a different shape. So it instantly catches my eye. and instantly makes me look at it, which is I think what we all want, especially in our car bases. If you've got a base as interesting and as detailed as that, then it doesn't matter what you put on top of it, your card is going to look absolutely stunning. Now that does bring us to the end of our second show today. Now this is the last show today using the delightful card shape. We are almost at 60% of the stock of this has gone, so don't miss out if you do want to grab it, because the price is going to go up at midnight tonight. But me and Bunny are going to be back at 2, but we are going to be looking at the beautiful bundles at 2 o'clock. So if you've looked at some of the artwork in this show and thought, oh, I don't know where that comes from, I must have missed that show, then make sure you come back